Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. This week's video is going to be a sit-down storytime video because if you're anything like me, right before I have a big life experience going on, I search YouTube and watch all the videos of other people's experiences so I can better prepare myself. And I got my wisdom teeth removed over 2 months ago and I could not find a video similar to my experience out there, so I want to share my experience and hope that it helps somebody else out there. Because from everybody that I talked to, they said after like 5 days, you're totally fine. And it's been over 2 months now and I still am not fully healed. So I want to share my experience with you all and hope that it helps at least just one other person out there. For a reference, I'm looking at my phone because in my notes, I have everything dated on when things happened. So if you see me look down, that's why. So to start out, I got my wisdom teeth removed on November 1st, and originally the surgeon was planning on extracting all 4, but she did an x-ray the day of and found that my upper 2 were way up in my sinus cavity, and she didn't want to remove them if they weren't causing me any pain, and the likelihood that they would ever affect my smile is very, very small. So she said that she didn't want to take them out because by her taking them out, it actually could cause more issues than they are causing me none right now. So we ended up just deciding to extract my bottom 2 wisdom teeth. And everything went super great with surgery. I was sedated and I didn't film anything afterwards because whenever I'm sedated afterwards, I'm just kind of tired. I'm not really funny. I talk a little bit, but I don't say anything goofy, so I figured there was no point in me filming after my surgery. And the first few days were really rough. I mean, I was only having really soft foods. It was very, very sore on both sides and it made it really hard to eat hardly anything. And my biggest fear was getting dry sockets. And everyone that I had talked to, they basically were like, you will know if you have dry sockets. But the funny thing is that I was experiencing very sharp pains on both sides, but to me it just didn't seem like enough to qualify for dry sockets, and I was worried that I would go in and then they would say you don't have dry sockets, and I didn't want that to happen. So I kind of waited out the pain a little bit and it increasingly got worse. Like there were 2 nights in a row that I woke up with just like shocking pain in both of my holes, and so I knew that something was wrong. And so finally on November 6th, Philip forced me to make an appointment and go back in, and so I went in, and my surgeon wasn't in that day, so I just saw a different doctor, and sure enough I had dry sockets on both of my holes. So he cleaned them out, which was excruciatingly painful. He like scraped them out. I was in so much pain the whole time, but then afterwards he gave this dry socket paste to me that they basically just squeeze in the holes, and it's like instant relief. But when I tell you it tastes absolutely nasty, that is not an understatement. It was so gross, but the amount of relief that it gave me, I was like, I don't care, it's worth it. So he put it in there and it instantly relieved the pain in my sockets. And I think there was a little bit of a miscommunication because the doctor only told me to use it like 1 time a day for a few days and then I should be fine. But then 3 days later on November 9th, I went back in to see my surgeon to see if the dry sockets had healed up. And unfortunately they did not. Either they never went away or they went away and then they came back and I got dry sockets again, but I still had them and I was still experiencing a lot of pain. And when I went in to tell her what the doctor had told me, she was like, you should be using that paste anytime you have pain. So like 3 or 4 times a day, but I was not doing that. So that kind of set me back on the recovery process of that. Also at the time, she did decide to put me on a round of antibiotics because she was worried that there was a possible infection on one side because this side was more tender than this side. And so she wanted to do that. And usually I try to avoid antibiotics if I can, but given the circumstances, I was like, I don't care, I need to get over this pain ASAP, so I will do whatever it takes. So on November 9th, she prescribed me those antibiotics, and then just over 2 weeks later, on November 22nd, I went back and she wanted to make sure that the infection had healed up, and from the looks of it, it did. She took x-rays, all the tissue was healed perfectly, everything was fine, but it still wasn't answering the question of I would get random like pain on this side, or at times I couldn't eat on this side, it was too painful. So it was just very bizarre hit or miss pain for me on this side, but there was nothing that really could explain it. So she kind of just told me that, you know, because your muscle isn't used to working, that you slowly need to start chewing on the side again. And so that was kind of what I did. I just tried to slowly eat through the pain on this side and work through it because she thought it had something to do with my muscles on this side of my mouth. Unfortunately, something was wrong because 6 days later, November 28th, I had to go back because this side of my face was so puffy. I mean, right now you can probably tell it's puffy. And if you go back and watch some of my videos, you'll notice that this side of my face was puffy. So yeah, I went back 6 days later because I was very puffy and I was experiencing very sharp pain on this side after eating. Like, I could not eat anything hard on this side. It hurt so bad. So I went back and, like I said, she felt around, she tried to see if there was an infection, push anything out. There was nothing there, and it was unfortunate because she kind of was just like, there's not really anything I can do for you. But she kind of just gave the answer of, there's nothing I can do for you, let's give it time and see if over time the puffiness goes down. She's like, there's no sign of infection, nothing's there, I don't really know what to tell you, kind of a thing. So that was kind of discouraging because I was like, well, I did everything that you wanted me to do and like clearly there's no infection, but then why am I still experiencing pain? Something isn't right. So I waited basically a whole entire month because it was so bizarre. It was very much hit or miss pain. I would go a few days feeling great, no puffiness, no issues eating on this side, but then the next day it would be so puffy, sharp, hurt really bad to eat. And so it just went really back and forth. And one thing that she did suggest to me was putting heat on the side of my mouth. So I was sitting in our sauna a lot to just get heated up and everything. And that definitely helped the puffiness. I noticed when I would sit in the sauna, I wouldn't be puffy, but just, it still wasn't explaining the pain that I was getting because it's not normal for you to not be able to eat on the side of your mouth. So I knew something was wrong. And so a month later, December 28th, I finally went back to the dentist. And right away the surgeon noticed that this side of my mouth was puffy, and she just said, you know, something isn't right, we need to get to the bottom of this. And so she looked at everything, she tried to squeeze out any pus or anything, nothing came out. She said my site was healing up perfectly, so it was just very bizarre. And basically after everything that we had tried to do, you know, the antibiotics, the dry socket paste, heat, all the things, and nothing was working, she basically felt really bad, but she just said, I think I have to put you back under and open up the site and see what's going on because something is clearly still wrong and we need a solution because you can't just not eat on this side of your mouth for the rest of your life. Hers and my biggest fear though was that she was gonna open up the site, like basically cut open everything that had healed and find that nothing was wrong in there. And that's what I was really worried, is that I would go under for surgery and then there would be nothing there. So then it's like, well, then what's still causing the pain? But honestly, that was our only option at that point. There was nothing else really that we could do. And so then I had my surgery scheduled for the following week on January 2nd, which was literally just this past week. And so that was my second surgery. She basically sedated me again, cut open the healed site, and she said that she was going to literally scrape everything out of the hole and it would be like November 1st again. So the healing process would have to start completely over just to make sure that anything possible that could be causing pain is eliminated from the hole. I was so sad when I heard that too, because like I said, then it was the whole concern of like, will I get dry sockets again, all that stuff. But again, it's like there's nothing else that they could do besides that. She just decided when she did my surgery that she was going to completely scrape everything out and hope that by starting clean and then stitching it back up that it could heal again properly. Which, side note, I actually woke up during the surgery. Like, it was so weird. I never in a million years thought that I would ever wake up when I was sedated. And it was funny because right before surgery, I was asking the nurses if they have a lot of people that wake up during sedation. And I guess they had to like switch drugs that they were using that aren't as effective. So recently they have been having a lot of patients wake up. Sure enough, I woke up in the middle of the surgery, and it was when the surgeon was like stitching up my mouth. And I just remember like opening up my eyes and literally watching her stitch, but like they didn't say anything, I didn't say anything. And I think they maybe put me back to sleep, or I just don't remember the rest of it. But it was so bizarre that I woke up during surgery. Like, I never thought that would ever happen to me, but I didn't freak out or anything, and I didn't feel anything either, so that was a blessing. But after the surgery, come to find out that there actually was a nasty infection on this side of my mouth in the hole. And my surgeon thinks what happened was that because I'm just young and healthy, that I did have an infection. My body was kind of able to fight it off naturally, but then it just kind of slowly crept in and was never able to fully heal, which resulted in the very puffy cheek and the very much amount of excruciating pain I had been feeling when I was eating. So she cleaned everything out, and she also, just to hopefully prevent any sort of infection from coming back, when I had my IV in for surgery, she actually just put a round of antibiotics in through the IV so that it just kickstarts the healing process and hope that no infection comes back this time around. And so today is Friday. I got my procedure done on Tuesday. And I'm so thankful. I am already feeling so much better. Like I said, one of my biggest fears was that I would get dry sockets again. And I think I'm in the clear because those first few days, my first time around with surgery, were crucial and I was experiencing a lot of pain. But even yesterday, I didn't even have to take any pain meds. Today, I haven't taken any, and I just felt so good. Obviously, I'm not really still chewing on this side of my mouth and eating softer foods right now, and it is still a little bit puffy, but I go back in for my follow-up next week, Tuesday, and Lord willing, everything will go well. But like I said, the healing process this time around, I've been so thankful because I'm already feeling so much better. So long story short, that is kind of my experience with getting my wisdom teeth out. Like I said, I hadn't really seen any other experiences that people had to like get surgery twice kind of, or had bad enough infection where they had to get it cleaned out. So that is my experience, and I hope if some of you are out here about to get your wisdom teeth out, I hope that experience does not happen to you. But just be prepared because it can happen, unfortunately, no matter what you do. And I'm the type too where if the doctor or dentist tells me to do something, I'm gonna follow it to a T. And I was like cleaning out my hole with a syringe, doing the paste, all of the things, and it just unfortunately didn't work out very well for me. But I am hoping that if you are about to get your wisdom teeth removed, that you have a way better experience than I do. I also would love to know down below in the comments, if any of you are watching who've already gotten your wisdom teeth out, if you had a similar experience to me, or if yours was completely different and you healed up really easily. I would love to know, so leave a comment down below letting me know what your experience is. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!